A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is Imam Khalil and Master Ash-Shaheed Community Reflections. So we wanted to take some time today to allow the community to express their love for Imam Khalil, discuss his legacy, and the community life that he's built. And so we're going to begin, I'll begin briefly by talking a little bit about the reason behind setting up this program. And then we will move into opening prayer, family acknowledgments. We will break for prayer at around probably 1:15. So we'll have about 40 minutes of opportunity for folks to share. We'll break for prayer, and then we can resume if there are folks who still want to speak. So for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Naila El-Amin, and this was kind of an idea sparked by my mom, actually. We, attending the janazah and the repast, got a chance to listen in on some really powerful reflections and tributes from Imam Khalil's family, as well as some imams locally and from around the United States. And we wanted to provide a space for members of the masjid to also share and to have a moment of reflection. So that is really the general purpose of today. And we're going to open with Imam Tamir Mutakabir with our opening prayer for this afternoon.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge with Allah against Satan the rejected. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. To Allah is due all praise, the Lord of all the worlds, the Lord of all the systems of knowledge, the Lord of the universe. We ask that Allah shower down His wisdom upon us. We ask that Allah guide this masjid. We ask that Allah give to Imam Khalil Akbar the same that Imam Wahdi Muhammad asked for. He said to give him a good future. We ask these blessings. And we say, Ameen.
Thank you, alhamdulillah. So the second portion of the program, before we jump into community reflections, we wanted to do a family acknowledgement. So if you are a member of the Akbar family, if you would like to raise your hand or stand, we just like to take a moment to acknowledge the folks in the space who are closest to him. Alhamdulillah. Thank you all so much for being here today. I also have an obligation to let the community know. We did a meal train for the Akbar family, and those funds have been distributed today, or will be distributed later today. So alhamdulillah, we were able to raise $1,600 for the family. And we wanted to present a card specifically to Sister Darlene. So I will give that to her at this time. The other piece to let folks know, we do have a memory and reflection book for Imam Khalil that we're going to get engraved. So if you would like to give a reflection to share with the family, it's this big tan book, and it'll be going around similar to what we did for Brother Clarence. So it'll be going around, there's a pin attached, so please feel free to write any reflections that you would like to share with his family to look back on. All right. So now we are going to open it up to any personal tributes from the community. So if you would like, you can come up and share, or we can bring a mic around. Is there anyone who wants to start us off or wants to share anything? Take a moment to reflect on Imam Khalil.
Assalamu alaikum. We never know what we miss until it's gone. Imam Khalil always teased me because I'm from Philadelphia, and he used to always talk about Minister Jeremiah. And he know I was in the nation captain, and I was lieutenant first and then captain. So every time that he would see me, he would always say, how's Sister Jeremiah doing? You know, he would joke with me. And I miss him so much. And I made a book that everybody can look at. Um, I made this book a good while ago, and not knowing and that we would lose him so soon, but we love him. We miss. We love the Akbar family. We love Sister Darlene. Darlene has been a real soldier for this community, right from wellness committee to a lot of the other organizations that she started in here. I just want to say thank you, Akbar family, and I love you so much, and I miss Brother Eman already. You know, he's just been a pillar for our community, and we should let his dreams live on. Must not stop because he's not here, so we must continue. I'm a little nervous, but inshallah. And I know people don't see me come up here so fast, but I really miss that brother already. Assalamu alaikum. And feel free to look at the book.
It'll be a few minutes, so bear with me. With Allah's name, merciful benefactor, merciful redeemer, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is a servant of his messenger. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. Let me be brief and respect everybody's time, but there are some things I want to say. My wife and I moved to Charlotte in 1993. And prior to that, we started our exploration where we want to settle down and raise a family. North Carolina appealed to us for many reasons, not the least of which my mother is from Belmont and family in Gastonia, and I have North Carolina roots, so that appealed to us. That being said, one of the first things we did was that we started reaching out, cold calling, to find who was in the community, who we could connect with. And one of the first people that we were connected with, I will say the first person that I actually spoke with was Brother Nassif. And because we were doing, this man has these Burger King franchise out there in Charlotte. And so he was the first person we actually spoke with. And he said, well, you have to talk to our Imam, Khalil Akbar. I said, fine. And so we made a connection, and he made me and my wife feel welcome, and we said we have to, if it's Allah's will, we're going to be in Charlotte, because that seems like that is a beautiful community. We're growing. And when we got here, we were not disappointed, not in the least. This is a man of faith, a man of God, a man of vision, a hilarious personality, and we just took to each other. One of the first tasks, and he put me to work. He put me to work. It didn't take long for him to put me to work, being on, me and my wife being on the October program committee. And as a matter of fact, Arisa was carrying, was it? I think it was you at the time. And we got to work. But I say all that to say, Allah knows best. And I am grateful for the, 30 years that Imam Khalil and I worked together, how I could see his vision, how I could see him lead this community, how he took on projects big and small. This is a man of vision.
a man of integrity, a man not without faults, as all of us are, but a man that loved this community and loved this work and wanted to see this community grow. And he is here in spirit with us. And I will say this absolutely. This man says, because I am not here physically, the work goes on. I want you to work. I want you to continue to build this community. I want to continue to love each other, support each other, build this community, and do the work that it needs to be done. So I think that is his charge to us today. I take that as his charge. That I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue that man's work. I love that man. That man is very special. So that's my charge to us as a committee. Sister Arlene, you are a queen sister. Stay strong. And we're here to support you. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone else in the audience? And we can bring a mic to you. Well, there's actually a mic in the center aisle. So if you can't make it to the very front, you're welcome to go to the mic in the center aisle. So again, we are sharing reflections. We can share reflections personally on our personal relationships with Imam Khalil. You can also share reflections on what this community means to you and his role in building this community.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. I'm from Philadelphia, came in 1972. Imam Khalil was coming to fruit class from Harrisburg to Philadelphia every week, and I talked to the secretary last week about Rafiq, and he said, "Oh yeah, we know, go way back." Sit down later. I said, "Well, I didn't know him because there was so many people up there that unless you knew West Philly or Germantown or South Philly, you never really met the people. So I never met him in Philly, but we met down here. Brother named Abdullah from Salisbury introduced me to him at Hidden Valley School. I think I met him over there and I played that. And then we got a couple of programs where he came over to Matthew Ali Shaw spoke. I still got that on video. I'll share with y'all later, inshallah. And ever since then, when I speak of Rafiq in Philadelphia, he always say, Rafiq, y'all gangsters up there. But alhamdulillah, 90% of Philadelphia wasn't gangsters, only a few. So inshallah, we'll miss him, and I love him. And like he tell my wife, he always tell me when we say my name, say, your name is really Adil. You're not pronouncing your name right. So we always say that every time we see us. So we're going to miss him, and inshallah, may Allah continue to bless him and the family. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
I can fill in the gap a little bit while we have some folks that are thinking upon their reflections. So, personally, there's kind of twofold things when I think about Imam Khalil. So, I think about, I'm Charlotte, born and raised, right? And this has always been my home. So I think about growing up. Me and my brothers didn't have an opportunity to have to grow up with grandfathers. Both of ours passed away. I was relatively young. I was like 5 or younger for both of them, and so I remember vividly. I think I was, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, and I remember my younger brother Yusuf saying, like, asking Imam Khalil permission to call him grandfather, because that was the house that we went to all the time. Like, if we weren't at Sister Kim's house, that's where we were. And so I remember that vividly, and thinking back on it and thinking about how he took his role as imam and community leader extremely seriously. And that extends beyond the physical space of the masjid and taking care of especially children, and helping them to remain in that community. And so that's something that I admired at the time as a kid, but particularly admire as I get older. And then from a religious standpoint, being a young woman, and especially when we were, teenagers, this is a space, and the community that has been built here is unique, unlike any other. I haven't encountered another Islamic space truly where we had as much freedom to question, to build our own philosophies around Islam the way that we had here. And so that's something that truly, when we get into the portion where we talk about kind of a community address and looking at the future of this community, that I at least will continue to honor, because that's something that I know, one, came from all the beautiful Muslim women in this community that wouldn't be quiet. I know that there's that piece, but there really is a piece where you have an imam who was willing to stand in the gaps of the misogyny and things that you can see from other portions of the broader Charlotte community. And people come into spaces with biases, and that wasn't allowed to stay here. And so that's something that I have always been very appreciative of, and have had an opportunity to take advantage of. Like, one of the things I actually didn't know for a very long time was that, I don't know if it was the fourth Sunday of every, don't let me get this wrong, y'all, but that Talim, ideally, it would be a woman that would lead Talim or would have those conversations, or have a presentation. And that's an institutional structure that is unique to this community that you're not going to see everywhere you go. So sometimes people ask me, like, oh, would you, move out of Charlotte? And I would, but it'd have to be pretty good. Like, because because this is where I grew up, would go into that space, and that's my expectation. Like, as a Muslim woman, when I show up, the expectation is that I get to talk. The expectation is that I can see the imam. The expectation is that when the imam is giving, a khutbah or speaking at Talim, that I'm included in that that community that's being spoken about, and not an afterthought. And that structurally was because of Imam Khalil. And so I always think about that, and that's something that I'm going to continue to honor and build into the spaces that I show up in, because I didn't grow up in a space where I was marginalized. And so my expectation is going to be that that integration into decision making, that integration of women into conversations about faith, and the expectation that my brain and my contributions are equal to that of the other person. And again, like, I talk about that, and all of that sounds like community, but community is only going to be as productive as the people that lead it. And at the top of that pyramid was Imam Khalil. So I will get off my soapbox, but that is, kind of my reflection that I wanted to add. Is there anybody else?
Assalamualaikum. I won't be very long. I just wanted to articulate some of Imam Khalil's generous nature. When I first came to Charlotte, he welcomed us with open arms, and we had a good relationship. When I took over as imam in Statesville, one of the things that I noticed that my predecessor, Imam Hassan, Salahuddin Hassan, he would call Imam Khalil continuously. If it was anything he didn't know, he would call Imam Khalil. And Imam Khalil was always available. Always. When I took over down there, up there in Statesville, Imam Khalil told me, he said, anytime you want to give a khutbah in Charlotte, give me the topic, and you're welcome to give a khutbah in Charlotte. And he stood behind that. When I told him that we were building a mosque in Statesville, he said, we will help you. I said, really? He said, yes, I mean that. He said, I mean that. Those are his words. I said, well, Brother Imam, for you who have not been to Statesville, I know many of you have not, right? The masjid in Statesville is from that window right there, that second window right there, over to that wall. Okay? That's the size of the masjid. Yeah, that window right there. That second window right there. To that wall. This is the masjid in Statesville. It's very small. It's very small. And it's very diversified. We have Africans. We have Palestinians. We have people from Pakistan, Egypt. It's very small. Some of you have been there, and I thank you for coming. But I just wanted to say that it meant a lot when you're trying to do such a gargantuan activity such as building a mosque. You don't know what you're faced with, you know. And I'm gonna tell you, I know many of you hadn't thought about this, but you should. There are two types of imams in our community. I'm talking about the community of W. Dean Muhammad, Imam Warif Dean Muhammad. Imam Khalil sits with the elite because he has built a mosque. Ain't many has done that. Not very many. We got A.K. Hassan in California who's done a super job. Some of you know about him. And he's almost 100 years old, right? 93, okay? He's probably the oldest imam in our community. You see? But we should when we look at our community, don't just look at Charlotte, you have to look at the whole picture. We're an international community with mosques in Bermuda. You want to visit Bermuda, go to Bermuda. We were able to make Hajj with the principal of the Clara Muhammad School from Bermuda. You know, she's passed away now, but the memories are there. So I want to say that Imam Khalil has served as like an elder imam in this area, and he has done a very good job. Even with interfaith, you name it, he was able to pull it all together, and we admired that. And I think one of the things he wanted to do was to get the imams together in our community, because we got imam, you know, in this area, in the Charlotte region, we have quite a few, and we should be meeting and being on the same page. And that's a good thing. But I say to you, as I said in our opening prayer, let's do for him the same thing we would do for Imam Warif Dean Muhammad. Give him a good future. Because he put us on an excellent track. And people talk about Charlotte all over. When I go to Atlanta and I say I'm from Charlotte, say, oh, you from Charlotte? Yeah, man, I'm from Charlotte. It's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing when you can travel and people know and respect our community. Thank you very kindly. Assalamu alaikum.
Any other reflections? And we do have the mic as well, so if anybody want to line up, you can.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Yusuf Napier, and what I wanted to talk about is when I first came here. When I first came here, that's about 10, 12 years ago. And I came from Jersey. And I I went to Betty's Ford Masjid, and then that's where I was going to regular basis. And then I started to come here. And I said, this will be my home. This is what you know, because I officially made Charlotte my home because I retired and moved down here. So my sister, she's the one who coaxed me to get down here, to move down here. So, because she said it'd be best for retirement for me. So I said, yeah, I'll come down here. And and so when I did come here, and I met Imam Khalil, and I got to know him and talk to him, and I was talking to him about my janaza, cause and then he was. I asked him, would he perform my janaza? Cause I had it in my mind since I'm moving here, so I'm everything down here. And then I started thinking about Brother Wali, who passed some years ago. He's from Jersey, and he was shipped back. He was shipped back to Jersey to his family. So I decided, I, I decided maybe that's what I should do. Cause see, my family is all mostly in Jersey. My family, my kids, and whoever's in Jersey. Just my sister and her brother is down here. So I said, well, I'm not going to ask my family to come on down here for my janaza, so it'd be easy to go up there. So when I approached Imam Khalil, he laughed at me because I wanted him to perform my janaza. He laughed at me. he said, he said, he said, you probably live longer than me. So I didn't really think that much of it. So I say, because but I found out later we both about the same age, maybe a couple months or whatever, but we both about the same age. But anyway, at I think it was South Carolina, we had a picnic. I think it was this year, and I asked him again. I was talking to him about it again, and he said he would. You say, yeah, he'll perform if I go to Jersey and have perform in Jersey. He said he would do it if I paid his plane flight. I said, wow. I say, man, that brother. This imam is really a blessing. I mean, to make a commitment like that. So but I was really surprised at his passing. I know he was sick a few times before, but I didn't know he was this sick, but but I just want to ask the family, bless the family. May Allah keep you all in His plans and moving forward. Oh, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Anybody else? Don't be shy now. This is family. Don't be shy.
I know most of y'all know me. I'm Yasmin Saline, and it's tough for me because I didn't come to the Shanazah prayer because my brother's funeral was the same day. But this lady, Sister Darlene Akbar, and Imam Khalil Akbar, was there for me all the way. I had a real bad automobile accident 94, 95. Had the trunk full of bean pies. Ran off the road, almost killed myself. And I was in the hospital, had emergency surgery. I didn't even know where I was until I saw Sister Darlene and Imam Khalil standing at the foot of my bed. They got there for me. Sister Darlene, I asked, where's Joy? And she, remember Darlene? I would always remind Imam Khalil how much that meant to me. To wake up from surgery and see him and beautiful Sister Darlene praying for me to make it. And I did. Imam Khalil married Adil and I 33 years ago. And he said, Yasmin, you remember to do what a wife's supposed to do. I was a little, and he would often call me. I would get in trouble sometime here at the masjid. And he called me in the office, and Sister Wakila would say, Sister Yasmin, Imam Khalil want to see you. I said, what have I done now? But one time they called me in the office, and Imam Khalil wanted me to go over and check on my youngest brother, who had already passed. Imam Khalil did not tell me at the time. He wanted me to go there in peace. He was there when my dad passed. Darlene, remember? They were right there. When my precious little grandboy passed away last year, he called me. He was there. Imam Khalil spoke to me in this parking lot weeks before my brother passed and said, Yasmin, it's going to be all right. But the very night I was sitting in my living room and I was scrolling through my phone to see if the masjid had announced my brother's funeral, and I saw that Imam Khalil had transitioned. It really threw me for a loop. And I said, I got to get up right now. So washing the beans, boiling the beans, getting the bean pies ready. And my daughter said to me, said, Mama, can you do this? I said, well, I won't be there for the repast, but I got to have the bean pies there. Because Imam Khalil always would tell me, Yasmin, you and these bean pies gonna be all right. So I made the bean pies and made sure, I don't know who brought them, my husband brought them down here, but I wanted to let the community know that Imam Khalil Akbar was there for me and my family so many times. And y'all know I'm guilty of not coming out to the masjid because I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, like watching sports. But being here today, I had to come because I didn't make it to his janaza prayer, and I knew that his beautiful family was going to be here. So me, myself, I got to work hard to keep the legacy of Imam Khalil Akbar moving. Assalamu alaikum.
I saw a couple people kind of hop up. So if you would like to speak, okay.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Arisa Elamine Garrett. This is my daughter Naila. My husband spoke earlier. I just want to reinforce what Imam Khalil said about what others said about Imam Khalil in terms of his vision for the community and also his support. I was looking at a text. Oh. I got tissues for everybody else, but you just never know when it's going to come. And to see so many beautiful faces, and bear with me.
You got it.
I'm such a crybaby. Um, so Imam Khalil supported the community, and he loved this community so much. Naila spoke of how he supported women in leadership. My husband Brian spoke about his vision for the community. So I have a text, and give me a minute. It's brief, but I just want to share. So Imam Khalil had asked about strategic planning. He wanted to do something like other communities, or what he imagined other communities had done in terms of growth and development and building a masjid. And so we talked about it, and I said, I think he was in a bigger group, and we was talking about kind of planning to build a masjid, growth, building New Africa. And so I assumed that other communities had a strategic plan, other bigger communities. And I said, Imam Khalil, I work for the city of Charlotte in community development, and that's the kind of work that I do. I do strategic planning, and I help communities implement plans. One of the Hidden Valley had an action plan created by the Planning Commission, and so either myself or the team that worked for me at the time, we were working in Hidden Valley and other communities in Charlotte. And so I said, I'd love to help, to be able to go to school, get educated, and, work in an environment, but then bring that skill to our community. I mean, it just felt like a blessing. So, I was like, no problem, I'd be happy to help. Let me research what's out there. And so when I started researching Atlanta and other communities, I found out that they didn't have a strategic plan. And come to find out, those different communities throughout our broader ummah associated with Imam Warthi Muhammad started to reach out to us, because we were actually the first ones to, praise be to Allah, put together a strategic plan with the leadership of Imam Khalil Akbar. And, I really appreciated how he saw something in me and put me forth in leadership. I mean, I was invited to programs where Imam Muhammad was there, and I was facilitating sessions with imams, the big guns, and, managing and massaging egos and personalities and, all that. But I say all that to say, let me just get to where I was. So I knew we had exchanged some texts about, he was getting better, was out of the hospital and all that. And I just sent him a message saying, I appreciated his leadership. And so I said, thank you for your leadership and support. I pray for your healing and good health. And he says, Assalamu alaikum, no thanks for my duty, but rather I should say thank you for your leadership. From day one of the strategic plan until now, you have stayed on task. Because of your efforts, we have clear vision and mission consciousness. Allah blessed you to acquire skills, and you are using them in His cause. So I just want to share, Allahu Akbar. So he was special to me and my family, and we feel part of the Akbar family. My children grew up with Sister Kim's children. And another thing that Imam Khalil was very proud of, and I don't think I'm misstating this, I believe he said that the akika we had for Naila when she was born was the first akika in our community. And I think he subsequently did the akika for Yusuf's birth. And so, he was special to us. The Akbar family is special to our family, especially you, Sister Darlene. We think of you often. We love you. We love Imam Khalil and his leadership. And his legacy will continue as we continue the work of building, of growing, and supporting action. So it's not just talking, but it's action and implementing our goals and objectives. And anything that I or my family can do in support of you, Sister Darlene, the Akbar family, and this community, we will do so. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Can I sit and talk? Yeah. Okay. I'm a shy boy. Really. Again, assalamu alaikum. First, I want to congratulate or thank the Imam Khalil Akbar for Allah allowing us the opportunity really to be together, you know, in some real serious times. And I'm just gonna mention one to get started. But first, my wife sent the greetings to you all, sure, not able to be here. And really, I'm here just to continue to support and encourage the community to keep going and establish what Imam Khalil worked for and what we're all working for in different capacities. And but I can remember we were having a banquet at our masjid, and Dr. Zaid was our keynote speaker, and he had a problem, liver problem. He was having a transplant in D.C., and he was he was still trying to come here and hoping he could get the transplant. You know, so finally I said, well, brother, man, we'll just get someone else. I called Imam Khalil. And I said, Imam Khalil, could you do our talk? He said, yes, sir, brother Imam. And I'm saying that to say, when you ask him to do something, that was pretty much what he would say. You know, yes, sir, brother Imam, you know. And then also, he was a great resource for our community, our body of imams in the state of North Carolina, because a lot of us will call him. I will call him about clarity on certain things. And then in our travel, we would get the clarity on a lot of things, just having conversation, myself, him, and Imam Ramadan in most cases. And I'm going to share this with you because it's kind of funny, and laughter is good. We were on the way to Wilmington, North Carolina, for one of our imams' meetings. It was myself, Imam Ramadan, Imam Khalil, and I forgot who else was in there with us. But, you know, we were just talking and riding, and the next thing we know, the state trooper pulls up beside us, pointing us off, right? And we like, for what? And we pull over. He says, do you know y'all was running 94 miles per hour? And we like, come on, man, right? But just having this conversation, we were just in another world, another zone. But he was real gracious to us, you know, because by law, he could have just stopped us. Yeah, he could have, but Allah was with us. And he seen us dressed neat, you know, and everything like that. But he was a great resource. And I was trying to wait on the family because out of respect, you know, I didn't want to come up before the family did. I think this is a time for them more. At the same time, I think this is a good, excellent situation established because at Janaza, and you know, when you come back, it's a lot of people, and you want to say a lot of things, and you can't remember them all the time. So I just jotted down just a few things. I want to continue to encourage Sister Darlene and her family to continue to work, you know, and I think they will. But lastly, I would say this, that Imam Khalil left this community in very good shape, very, very good condition. And I remember one time he was a little ill, and we were chatting, talking. He said, brother, man, we had this thing paid for, you know. He just always in his mind, you know, we had to get that. He didn't want to leave that. These were his words. he did not want to leave that on the believers, a big debt, Yeah, and so Allah we do ask Allah to continue to bless his soul, and if there's a excellent place for others, it's definitely one for him. And our continued prayers on the family and anything we could do. I don't need to give you my name. Most of you all know me, and when I come here, it's like my home. I got a lot of people I've been knowing since the Nation of Islam days, and so I got some real good friends here. So when I come here, it's still my home when I come here. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I was afraid that I would say something corny or whatever, but I'm just gonna say what's been on my mind is a lot of the things I do at the masjid I probably would have not even thought of had not been for Imam Khalil. Giving you that push to put you out front, and I think he had an eye for individuals that had the necessary skill and talent, and to use that skill and talent for the benefit of doing things that's pleasing to Allah and being a service to the community. So we can all thank him for that, where had it not been for his foresight in seeing where a young person can fit in at the masjid, we may not have seen that kind of potential in ourselves. One thing in particular, for the Brothers Summit, the men's retreat, we had our 5th men's retreat last summer. But for 20 years, they had been trying to have a men's retreat. And I didn't know that, but Imam Khalil, he gave a backstory of how, he wanted to have a retreat, and he put it in other people's hands, and it didn't come through fruition. Him and Imam Omar were trying to put it together, and it was always something that would set it back. And just one day, he just put it on me. He said, "Put a retreat together." and sometimes that's what it takes. You just delegate the assignment on somebody, and it gets done. And that's his leadership. A lot of things may not have happened, and that's something that a famous quote by y'all know the inventor of the automobile, Henry Ford. He said, "You don't got to be the smartest person. You just put the right people around you." And that's the type of leadership Imam Khalil had. Because we do a lot, and just like we don't have no hired staff here, and things just come together. When we have events, we had conventions here. We have conferences here, and it's all a labor of love from the believers of the Masjid Ash-Shaheed, where we make it look easy. And then some people may try to take that for granted, but we make it look easy when we have our programs, and that just comes from the the love that we have for each other in our community. I miss Imam Khalil, and it goes up and down in my emotional state. But I talk to Imam Khalil mostly during the week, where he would call me while I'm at work, between 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11:30 in the morning, and I had become used to his phone call, where I would just drop everything and take his call, and since he passed, I still was looking for that call while I'm at work, feeling like I'm supposed to be doing something right now, and that would be it. Like, and it's always about business. Something that's got to be done in the masjid. A thought that would need to be expressed, and what the young imams can do. And he would say, he kept continuously saying that because of us, and it's purposeful. What he did was establishing an imam staff, where it's not just the full burden on him, and distributing the tasks. And he said it was so that he could have confidence that the masjid would be okay. And he would tell me that all the time. I know the masjid is going to be okay because I got you brothers. And like I said at Juma, he kept saying, he said, I can die today, and I know that the masjid will be okay. And I said, you don't got to say it like that, Imam. And he always would say, but I'm serious. I'm serious. So I know he was always, he had a very good sense of humor, but Imam Khalil was also serious. And that's actually, it's an attribute of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When we read about him in the seerah, the Prophet had a sense of humor as well, but was also very serious. So alhamdulillah. Imam Khalil married me and my wife, I know, and that's something that we have a DVD of. So, and he was excited to marry us because we were 21 years old when we got married, 21 years ago, and a lot of y'all were there at that wedding, and it's just a lot of third party mentorship, that Imam Khalil had for me, by which sometimes you need that third party that can tell you what your parents may have already told you. So Imam Khalil had that for me as well, as another mentor, another parent, another father, and I appreciate y'all's family for that, Sister Darlene and all of the daughters and our family. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, Sister Darlene and the family, you all have been a constant part of our prayers, because no one knows what you're going through except you all. My mother, I told her that Imam Khalil had passed, and she was real upset about it. She said, but you tell them that I love them. And she says as soon as she can, she wants to talk to you. So this situation with Imam Khalil, it's a void in all of our hearts for a reason, because each one of us can go back to the times where he helped us, and everybody in here has them same situations, same things. When one of my sons was in a real bad car accident and saying he wasn't going to live, Imam Khalil was there. When I was in an accident, tore my knee up, Imam Khalil, Sister Darlene was there. So it's hard to forget about those type of situations. Imam Khalil was a brilliant man. And I'm going to tell you why I say this. See, you brilliant when you can use a whole lot of different people and put them in the right place. That's brilliance right there. We used to be on some panels together at the Jewish Center, He was brilliant. I knew it. We were sitting there answering the same different questions. I said, Imam, let me deal with this one. He wasn't no arrogance about him. He said, you go on and handle it. Now, Imam Pasha failed to say that I was driving the car. on the way to the Imam's meeting, doing 94 miles an hour. the state trooper said, I've been trying to catch you for 5 miles. But I'm going to tell you what they did to me. The last Imam's meeting we went to, I said, y'all want me to drive? Man, Pasha said, I got it, man. Don't worry about it. You rest. So, on the way back, Imam Khalil say, I say, let me drive, man? You know, I got it, John, I got it. They didn't want me to drive. You know, so I've been a little uneasy because of the loss. Matter of fact, a few days after he was buried, I went out to the gravesite to do some prayers. You know, but he was a man. And see, this is what you got to understand. I got 7 children. I know what it is to deal with 7 children. Imam Khalil worked at the prison, traveling all over North Carolina, taking care of his family, and running a masjid. You know, so the deeds that are said, Prophet Muhammad, peace and prayers be upon him, are the deeds that are done most consistently. So anything that, when it comes to Imam Khalil, nobody can say he was not consistent. And the proof of that is in the this masjid. You know, anytime something came up that was serious pertaining to the Islamic community, Imam Khalil was in the forefront. Whether it was 9/11 or somebody trying to disparage our community in any type of way, he loved the tafsir, the commentary of Imam Warifdi Muhammad. He refused to let any other culture take over our thinking. You know, and that's powerful because you got so many people from so many different perspectives and different cultures, different way of thinking, but he held his ground. Now, Imam Khalil was diplomatic. Sometimes people think a diplomat is, you got to be diplomatic now, but then it comes a time where it has to be a hammer. Bam! This ain't happening. That's the way Imam Khalil was. The wealth of knowledge that he had, that's why we talked to him. That's why we went to him. And he would be impartial too. He would talk to us. And Imam Khalil, I want to share this too. When we were doing a preparation of a body one time, and I was kind of standoffish, you know. And Imam Khalil told me, he said, John, we are doing for him what he can't do for himself. He said, we're preparing him to meet his Lord. That took all the apprehension and anxiety out of me, you know. So really, he has set forth such a legacy. Everybody can't do that. Everybody can't have the kind of legacy that he's left with us here. You know, and I think over time, we're going to keep working because that's what we do. And Imam Khalil, a whole lot of the older imams here, we come at a time where we did this work for nothing because of the love that we got in our heart for Islam. So I'm going to keep praying for you all. But the community is going to go forward. That's the way it's set up. So I thank you all. It's a whole lot more I probably want to say, but assalamu alaikum. And may Allah continue to bless you all.
So we're going to take probably 2 or 3 more reflections, and then we're going to break for prayer. So,
I think my mic's working.
and, this one's a little louder. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to be in the back. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I sure did. I wanted to be back there where nobody could see me. I want this. Am I just doing this? So, like, I just got a few things I want to say about Imam Khalil because it just really. But anyway, you remember how we used to go to Chicago on the bus? And the most important thing to me was to hear Imam Muhammad do the address. And that's the way it was with Imam Khalil. The Quran, people say the Quran is timeless. His kufa were timeless. And I enjoyed them so much. And and whenever he would go out to the different churches and we would get invitations to come, I would definitely go because I wanted to support him and I wanted him to see that I was there because I was so proud of him. And I would always tell Sister Darlene, oh, he did such a wonderful job, Sister. I know you're proud of your husband. And I would reinforce that. So, anyway, so he came to Novant Health, where I worked for years and years, had kind of like an after COVID celebration. Well, it wasn't after COVID. COVID was kind of died down. And he came, it was celebration in the park, BB&T ballpark, and he came with some of the brothers, and I was there, and so I went up to him, and I spoke to him, and we talked for a few minutes, and then when he started talking, I told everybody I knew and didn't know, this is my Imam, this is my Imam. He is, Imam like your preacher, this is my Imam. He is the Imam, senior Imam at Ash-Shaheed Islamic Center. And that's where I belong. So I was so proud of him, and I still am. And I was just so, he was so encouraging and uplifting. And his cook-off was just, like I said, timeless, sister. And you guys, you really are blessed to have had such a wonderful father, such a wonderful person to direct and to lead you. And you should be thankful that Allah has rewarded you with such a person, because you don't have fathers and leaders like that very often. So just thank Allah that you had this opportunity to be with him as long as you were. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I have Sister Rashida Shamsuddin on the phone, and she wants to say a message. Let me see if I can get Sister Rashida. Sister Rashida, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, my beautiful sister
They can
and
hear you.
believers.
Mhm.
Assalamu alaikum, sister. This is Rashida Shamsuddin. I pray Allah to give you strength, give us strength to go through these trying times. But Khalil was a wonderful person. I enjoyed him. And I am so sorry that I was not able to have spend some quality time with you all, the family. But Allah is always merciful. And I pray that Allah that He give all of us and you and your family strength to go forward. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mama. Okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sister Valerie.
Yes, ma'am. I love you, Sister Rashida. Yes,
I
ma'am.
love it. I
Love
will
you,
be
Mom.
for you soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum. My husband's out of town because one of his business partners for 40 years passed. His main business partner, so he's in Kansas City. But I just want to say on behalf of my husband and I that when we came here, we've been here 5 years, and we want to, say it's been a joy to be here because of Sister Rashida. That is why we're in this masjid, and we want to say that we extend our love anything we can do for the family. And I remember Brother Imam was a funny, he said, he would say stuff. Brother Imam said, "Sister, did you like to preach, don't you?" One time I spoke, I said, "Well, Brother Imam, I come from a line of preachers, my mom and dad." I said, "So I guess it got, is in me a little bit." But I just want to say that we've always felt welcome here. My sister Darlene and your family, Brother Imam. And Brother Imam is a legacy in our community to be remembered. And I'm really glad for the YouTube and stuff where you can go back and still see him. Because, my parents, I can't go back to YouTube. So that's something that I'm grateful for. You can go back and listen to his coupons. I remember the last lecture he gave. It was my husband. I said, "That was really awesome, but it was profound." The last one he gave at the masjid, and that day I think he got sick. So I'm glad that I was here to witness that. But I said, I pray that Allah give you all strength, will sustain you, because you have the memories, and sometimes it doesn't matter how long it is. You still, that love is still in your heart. You feel it. My mom been gone since 2015, and I still feel it. So the things Brother Imam has taught us will carry us forever. And just to look back on the things that he has done for this community, and I know without a shadow of doubt, Imam loved this community. Brother Imam loved Master Ash-Shaheed, and it showed in everything that he did, everything he said. So I just want to thank Allah for allowing us to come here to experience Brother Imam, because we would have never had, I didn't know Brother Imam before coming here. So I feel really grateful to know him and know you, Sister Darling, all your beautiful daughters. It's just a beauty. So I say, thank Allah, and we pray that Brother Imam is resting with Allah, and Allah grants him the highest peak of paradise and reward him for all that he has done for the community and Islam all throughout. And I just pray that to Allah. And I pray for Brother Imam. When I make my prayers now, I pray for Brother Imam, Brother Clarence, and Sister Deborah. Those are the people I include in my prayers. When I say my dua, along with my parents and my grandparents, I pray that in my prayers. So I want to say, Assalamu alaikum, anything I can do. Anything, Sister Darlene, you should need, just call me. Sister Darlene, just a phone call away. Any of you all. That's what I say. Please just call us. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, we got one person, and they.
Assalamu alaikum. At the repast, Brother Sheldon didn't speak because I know I was going to get up there and cry in front of y'all. And I ain't want y'all to see me crying. It's not that I don't cry, I just didn't want to cry in front of y'all. How about that? So I give my condolences again to the beloved family, because I'm y'all brother y'all don't know y'all had. I adopted Imam Khalil and to be his first son. I guess Maurice might be number 2. But I gave him that because I was an orphan. My mother died when I was 14. My father died when I was 19. So when I met Imam Khalil, I used to see him in travels because I worked security with Imam Muhammad's ministry. I was Imam Muhammad's personal security. So I traveled with him to over 20 colleges and universities because he felt that was very important to his ministry, to get those fresh student minds, he used to say. He came to Detroit for 11 years, and for once a month, for 11 years, I worked that for him. I usually pick him up at the airport, bring him in, and take him back. So we got personal. The only one that has outdone me in colleges and universities, Imam Ash-Shaheed, because he was the coordinator for the Imam for colleges and universities. And might be your brother Imam in Raleigh, Durham, the one that he also worked in that capacity. So when I moved here 12 years ago to this masjid, I found this masjid to be true in its support of the ministry of W.D. Muhammad. I'm attracted to that. I'm a student of his ministry. These imams are students of his ministry. Imam Khalil was the epitome. I traveled the country with Imam Muhammad. I've seen those that give support to his ministry. I've seen those that don't. So I know them from observation. It's my job to protect him from those people. Okay? They say they with him, but they not. He used to tell me that. He used to tell me, I used to say, why are you telling me? He wanted me to know, so that I could watch those that claim they with him, but they not. So in the Islamic history, 3 of the caliphs were assassinated in the ranks. With my skill set, I wasn't about to let that happen to my leader. I die first. They're not going to get to him. And y'all never seen me put in work. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. It's meant to be ugly. So, but I got a skill set that Allah blessed me with, and I wanted to gift my leader with that. His protection. He said, well, y'all ain't my protection. Allah's my protector. But I let y'all do this because that's what y'all want to do. And he was right. I wanted to be there for his protection. But Imam Khalil, I fell in love with him as my teacher, my teacher here in Charlotte. And I saw him to be a true supporter and a student of Imam Muhammad. So when I used to see him and Maurice on the road, I would always go over and give them the greetings. I didn't know anything about Charlotte. Believe this. I grew up in eastern North Carolina. I never came to the western part of the state. So I never knew anything about it. So when I found out about Charlotte, we brought the school in Sedalia. And Imam Ali Shaw was there. And I didn't know who he was. I heard that thunderous voice come through about 2 o'clock in the morning. And he was upset about something. And I was like, who is that guy? They said, he from Charlotte. So that was my first introduction to Charlotte. But then when I moved here, well, I first came here for a Tiff's wedding. And I was his best man. And I told him, I moved a Tiff down here. So I told him I'm thinking about relocating to Charlotte. So he invited me. That's what you should do. And here I am. And everybody that know me know that my specialty is security. That's what I do. And I do entertainment security for about 20 years too. So that's what I'm at. Thank you, Maurice. He told me to be quiet.
He's committed to it. This is the way he served Imam WD Muhammad. That's the way he served Imam Khalil Akbar. Assalamu alaikum, family. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I had to write down. Let's give it a second. I need to put my glasses on.
We got fancy kids.
All right. Imam Khalil, we all love and know him. He's a Muslim in every sense of the word. He's trusted in Allah and followed the Sunnah of Muhammad as taught us to do the same. He was a soldier under the army of Elijah Muhammad, and in 75, a soldier for Al-Islam under Imam, the Honorable W.D. Muhammad. He was above average leader because he sacrificed his family time to serve the community for the bigger, greater cause. And that takes a lot. You know, when you have 7 kids and a beautiful wife at home and you're out there working day and night to make sure they have food on the table, that's a man's man. And so, as Shelton said, a lot of us, we grew up without a father, so he was an example of what a father should be. He was a great husband. He was a great father. He was a great grandfather and a great father. He was close to all of his family members, his sisters, his brother Doris, and all of his in-laws, and they would be happy when we visit them, and he would be excited to know that we get ready to go on the road and visit them. And first thing he would say, Maurice, you driving? Yeah. I said, yeah, I got you, man. Damn. You know, but I know I had Kim there, so if I got tired, she would take the wheel, and we would have excellent conversations there and back. Excellent fun. Always stop for a Kentucky Fried Chicken if it was on the road. You know, he was skillful when it came to eating chicken. Skillful. I mean, it was amazing to watch him go through a chicken bowl. And so he had a good sense of humor, and we enjoyed laughing about those things, you know. But his life was a life of service to other people, and he was generous with his time, and especially those that's less fortunate, those that was looked down upon by others. He would give them extra time to let them feel special, and never gave up on people. To me, sometimes when people came in and asked for charity, they would come on a consistent basis knowing that we would do our best we can to help them. But sometimes I felt, man, you've been a little gullible because this person is taking advantage of the community. And so he would say, da, da, da. So we had a little shield to make sure that everybody wouldn't get back to his office. So, you know, they wouldn't take it. Because he would never said no. And one time it was a person that kept calling the masjid. Jerry and I went to the hotel to take them some food and water. And the sister came out, but the husband didn't. So this person, we helped them. So this person called the masjid. A couple of months later, Imam answered the phone. And I recognized the person after the Imam explained they needed help, but they were staying in a hotel in Gastonia. So I said, Imam, this person is not who you think it is. So he said, come on, let's get in the car and go. So on the way there, I called the person back, and I said, is your husband going to be there? No, he's not going to be there. I said, man, that's the same person. So we made the U-turn and came back to the masjid because we knew that these people were shamsters. That's what they do. They go to all the masjids, all the churches, and they get help, and they just take advantage of people. But in his heart, he just never wanted to refuse anybody. You know, so we have to be balanced. When it came to prison services, he was committed to helping the brothers that was in lockup. And a lot of them came in, he would never expose them. Say, oh, I know that brother, he was in the joint. You know, he wouldn't do that. He would encourage them to keep staying on the deen, and they love coming to the masjid because of how you all treated them. I mean, we treated everybody with love and dignity and respect. And a lot of these brothers, they committed themselves to coming to this masjid. Some of them, they want to work on security. And, you know, but we have to screen people because we have a specific way that we do security and making sure that our community is safe. So you just can't walk in because you think that you can do security and do it. No, it takes a certain amount of compassion, a certain amount of skill, and a certain amount of dedication to be on our security team. And when we walk with Imam Khalil out in the community, he said, y'all think y'all protecting me? I'm protecting y'all. That's what he would tell us. He said, man, if you see me and the bear, help the bear. You know what I mean? Help the bear. I don't need no help. You know, he loved boxing. That's what his thing. He would sit there and he would watch boxing and you know, then get up. And after he got that pacemaker, you couldn't tell him nothing. You know, so he was humorous. He was a balanced leader. And he invited imams from all over the country. Had no fear sharing that podium. You don't get that in other places. And I've been to other masjids where people be fearful about who they want on that podium because they think they're going to outdo them. He was not that way. And y'all seen the great imams that came through this door that Imam Khalil allowed to get on that podium. No fear, because he wanted us to have the best. The best of what Imam W.D. Muhammad wanted us to have. Imam wanted us to have the same thing. And he looked at the characters of the people in this community, and as Arisa and some of the others said earlier, he brought the best out of us. He created the rotation, as Ibn said in the masjid, with the imams, the assistant and associate imams, and we've been blessed to get the insights that these young brothers they've been having. And we're blessed also to have Imam Ash-Shaheed, who's going to be who is our resident imam, because he's committed. He has that same commitment. Same commitment. So we've never been without leadership. So if he's traveling, we're still good. If Imam Ash-Shaheed has to travel, this community is still in good hands. So that's how Imam Khalil set it up. You know, he was a master teacher because he taught with his generosity and with his heart. When we was there in the hospital, he was sick. I never heard him complain, He trusted Sister Darlene. I mean, he trusted her, and she did I call her Dr. Darlene, because she did a masterful job. Takbir. And he trusted her to the max. Even when we brought him home, you know, we was helping him get out the car, and he looked at me and said, don't let me fall. I said, wait a minute. I said, hold on, man. I've been with you from day one. Sister Darlene been there doctoring. You're going to look at me and talk about don't let you fall. I said, man, come on in the house. Stop playing, man. So even in his decline, when his health was failing, he was still teaching. When he was praying and he couldn't say the words, he would say, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And the last thing he heard was his family, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. Say it with me. La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasul. That's what he heard as he transitioned. And at the Janazah, if you see our Corlera's grandsons, they helped watch the body, and they got that experience, and they carried his casket into the car to go to the cemetery. I mean, he was a great teacher, and look the legacy he left. So with that, I'll just say thank you for sharing your husband. Assalamu alaikum.
Brother Halal. And we will still have time for folks to make reflections, but we did want to put the chairs up for prayer, so just bear with us.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah Halal. I've been the secretary here since 1998. I moved here from Minneapolis, and to be honest, my intention when I came here was not to work. I just wanted to sit on the floor and, come to Juma and go home. Because I had come here to get married, and I figured, starting a new life, I'm going to spend all my time at home. Well, it took me a while to find the masjid. Number one, I have no sense of direction, and this was before GPS. So I kept asking people, how do I get to Imam Muhammad's masjid? They sent me to immigrant masjids. They sent me to the Nation of Islam. They sent me everywhere. So I finally found Masjid Ash-Shaheed, or Ash-Shaheed Islamic Center over on Tuckasegee. And, I introduced myself to Imam Khalil, and he was asking me about myself. I said, well, I was a secretary up in Minneapolis for about a year before I moved down here. And he said, oh, okay. I think he had just gotten a new secretary and it wasn't working out too well. So I said, well, Brother Imam, I don't want to be the secretary, but I'll work with who you got. Man, it wasn't a week later, Imam Khalil we went somewhere and he was introducing me. He said, yeah, this is my secretary. And, I didn't want to dispute with him in front of anybody, so okay, And so I didn't come to the masjid for about a month. I figured, he'll find somebody, And then we went to some other function, and he again says, well, this is my secretary. And I said, well, I guess I'm the secretary. And we would work, people don't know how much people called Imam Khalil. He get calls at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And what you don't know is when you got off the phone with him, he called me. So I'm getting phone calls at 4 o'clock in the morning. And, Brother Imam, I ain't into this, So I had to learn to take my cell phone and leave it in the other room so I couldn't hear it. And he go, brother, I've been trying to get in touch with you. And I said, well, brother, man, do like you did before they had cell phones. Leave a message. I'll get back to you. I promise. But I learned a lot from him. He would come to me and he would talk about how people were, they call him with all these problems. They're getting on his nerves. And I said, brother, send them to me. And he said, I can't send them to you because you too harsh. And I said, brother, man, my job is to keep them off of you, So, I got no problem with that. Let me have one of those tissues, please. Thank you. But, through the years, working with Imam, and we love to travel. He would love to travel. We go, if the Imam Muhammad was anywhere within, 300-400 miles, we were going. And we let Imam Khalil drive one time. We were supposed to be going somewhere north. We wound up almost in South Carolina. So I told him from that point on, you can't drive no more. You know, we'll get you to where you're going, you know. And, you know, I enjoyed working with the Imam. There were several times I came to him and told him, you know, brother, I'm thinking about leaving Charlotte. You know, I'm thinking about moving to Belize, or I'm going to go out to California. Imam Abu Qadir al-Amin had a position for me out working as a chaplain in the prison system out in California. I mentioned that to Imam Khalil, and the next thing I know, this man, they gave me about 40 jobs to do. You know, it's like, brother, I told you I'm leaving. And he'll, now do this, and do this, and do this. But his spirit was such that I couldn't say no to him. I don't think I ever said no, you know, if he asked me to do something. Because he made you ashamed. You know, if you told him you were tired, he go, well, brother, I've been doing this for 40 years, you know, and you don't see me retired, do you? And well, brother, man, that's you know, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And then he just give me something else to do. So I learned to just shut up and never tell him I'm leaving, you know. But he was a great man. I learned a lot from him over these last 25 years. I've been lucky. I've been blessed. I've had some good imams wherever I was. You know, A.K. Hassan out in California, Imam Akram in Minneapolis, in Chicago. Well, we didn't really have a masjid in Chicago, but Imam Darnell Kareem had his session where he was training imams, and I remember he signed me up for it, and I went and I said, well, brother Imam, this is what we used to use for orientation, you know, and if you tell me this is what you got to do to be an imam, I'm ready, you know. And then after I thought about it, I go, no, I don't want to be an imam, you know, 'cause, yeah, it's a lot of work, and knowing how long Imam Khalil did it, and did it not just well, he did it superbly. It was, I don't know, he had a way of making you ashamed not to work, you know. And I'm not a meeting person, you know. I can't sit still, you know, through hours and hours of meetings. But he would drag me to these meetings, and I'd have to sit there, and I'd get up and I'd walk away, and he'd call me, brother, you know, you need to come back. Okay, you know. But I miss him. I love him, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to know him, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to know the family. You know, assalamu alaikum.
Now you gonna be my last person now, cause we got.
We can make prayer. Somebody call you down. We can make prayer.
Let's get you.
I mean, it's some other people. Yeah, we can. Assalamu alaikum. Here was that saying: you don't miss your water till the well run dry. You heard that saying. You know, Imam Khalil was very, very special. I'm gonna share something I remember when Imam W. Muhammad came here. He said that after he saw Charlotte and visited a couple times, he said, we have the green light here. That's what Imam W. Muhammad said. We have the green light here. Because he saw something special about Charlotte. Matter of fact, he shared with me that he was moving to Charlotte. And some of you, I don't know, some of you
I know Imam Khalil was there. And at the time he said, what's his daughter's name? No, Ingina. He said, and Ingina, if something happens to me, you move here. You know, I'm saying this because I don't think it's soak in. It's just a special place. People will testify to that as they come and visit this, but especially because of the spirit that's here. And we were blessed to have Imam Khalil. You could trust Imam Khalil. Imam Khalil was a skilled manager of people. You take a lot of people take that for granted. Now he was a very skilled manager of people. Plus, he was a Muslim. And that's the way you can think about being a Muslim. Sometimes he would get resistance from things he was trying to do and trying to accomplish. They were good things. And he's human just like all of us are. And it would wear on him. Because he would always, to the nth degree, try to be just with people, try to be fair with people. I mean, he did it to the nth degree. He wasn't insecure. He was not insecure. He was very secure. Matter of fact, some of the things that Brother Maurice said, he understood. He wasn't insecure, and that's the kind of confidence he had. He put this community first. Of course, he put his family first, but I'm talking about what Al-Islam was about. It's nobody's here by accident. We're here by Allah's will. Even so, sometimes the things that we do that are anti-situations, we still here by Allah's will. Allah put it all here because you know what? You can't build no muscle if you don't have any resistance. You got to lift the weight. You got to have some resistance to get the muscle, and that's struggle. I always knew we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. Because Allah is in this. And Imam Khalil put his trust in Allah. He put his trust in Allah. Sometimes I didn't see, and sometimes some kind of things come up. I said, Imam Khalil, they don't trust you. He admitted that. They don't trust you. It's kind of shocking, but I said, Imam, that's the normal resistance you have in life. That Allah gives the resistance. Allah, and that builds, and from that experience you become stronger. And that's how this community has always been. Always been this way. You talking about it? Now he wasn't insecure. You talking about people being on the roster and stuff. But like I said, he had discernment. You know, like a fishbone in your mouth. You know, I gotta take that out. I can't swallow that. He was wise. Imam Khalil was wise, and Imam Khalil had a covenant with Allah. I bear witness. He had a covenant with Allah, and if you know anything, he was not gonna break that covenant. He's gonna be fair to people. He's gonna be just with people. Because that's the way our prophet was. But Imam Khalil had a covenant with Allah. And Sister Darling, you can testify that. You know. That's why he had so much love for his family. He had a young spirit. You know, we joke a lot. But he had a very young spirit. Imam Khalil wasn't an old person. He was young in his spirit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah? Our bodies get older, but if we can maintain that kind of a spirit, I mean, look at the mercy Allah had on him. Look how many people he gone to and prayed for and read Quran. All of us when they were on their deathbed and go through hospice and all that kind of situation. And some of them suffered. I remember going to say prayers for a brother, and I heard him hollering, screaming from entering the door at that hospice. And this went over like 6 months. But look at the mercy of Allah. Look at the mercy of Allah. 2 weeks. And it hurts us. It's a loss for us. It hurts us. But look at the mercy of Allah. 2 weeks. So we mourn his loss. It's a big hole. Because his spirit was a part of our spirit. He was a great leader, respected by people all over this nation and our community, outside of our community, all over this state, in this city, and an ambassador for Al-Islam. But he's still here. He's still here. I mean, he's still here. He's still here. And please, I know many of you are, pray for him. Ask Allah forgiveness and sin, mercy, and great power. Do that in your daily prayer. Y'all, all the children, till you breathe your last breath, you should do that every day in your special prayer. Every day. Every day in your special prayer. Because he can't get any more blessings, but your prayers are blessings for him. Let's all do that. He was genuine. He the real deal. Imam Khalil was the real deal. And we had a lot of humor. We have a lot of humor. We had some humor. I mean, we always have some jokes. He always messing with me. I'll be messing with him. He never met a chicken he didn't like. He never met a chicken he didn't like. Boy, I tell you, that man. Oh yeah, Imam Khalil. Boy, it was during Ramadan. Oh yeah, talk about them keys. Imam Khalil. I said, I said, but Marisa, somebody stole my shoes. In the Ramadan, I mean, I was so disheartened. I said, who would do that during Ramadan? I mean, Ramadan. And this was discussed. Imam said, who would do that during Ramadan? He can't, well, this is bad, man. We got to get that, review the tape. We got to get out of this. What kind of person we have, we're going to steal somebody's shoes in Ramadan, too. About a week later, I got a call from Steve. He said, man, I'm in Imam's office back here, and you got some shoes back in here. So I got some shoes back over here. They look like the shoes you were talking about. Imam Khalil, we had some of the same shoes. He took my shoes. That was a relief, though, but he could never live that one down. I said, Imam Khalil, you done took my shoes on Ramadan. And I tell you another thing, when the people, I tried to get him to change his habit about these keys. He would lose keys, every day. One time, we were traveling, and so I went to the truck, we were in the car, and we had to get somebody the trunk, and Imam was back there too, and I closed the trunk. He said, don't close the trunk. The trunk was locked. It was the keys was in the trunk. I said, Imam, how would you put your keys in the trunk? Man, come on, man. He put him. So I said, the people at the key place, they knew him. Oh, Imam Khalil, we'll be right there. they knew. Oh, Imam Khalil, he's on retainer. Him and them keys, brother. But I couldn't get him to change that habit. But we know he had a propensity for losing keys. That man was something else. So yes, he's so respected, and he certainly led a good life. I still can't believe it. It's real, but it's just a void there. Like I said, we're in good hands. Everybody's here for a reason. We got to keep working together as a team. We got to love each other. See, that's a big thing. Yeah, it said show your love. Well, you can show your love. Don't talk your love. Show your love. We got a lot. We got a lot of love in this community. Let's let's love each other. Let's trust each other. And I have to and I say this because we can't take things for granted. And Imam Khalil has done so much for this community. Now he's with Allah. Let's treasure what we got. Let's even build what we got. Let's strengthen what we got. We got a lot. This is not an ordinary community. This is not no ordinary community. This is an exceptional community. And Allah has brought us together for a reason. And it's a reason. We might not know, but we're here. It's about building and growing and being an example, even for other communities. We're not small, big. We very big. We giant. I remember some of the so many humorous things. I remember we had that banquet. Remember, Sister Darling, we had that banquet, and I think I was doing the host situation at the banquet, introducing different people, and I got up and I don't know where my glass. I guess I misplaced my glasses somewhere, and so I said. Oh, I put my glasses down somewhere. I couldn't see. I said, let me. I said, Imam Khalil. I said, get my glasses. Imam Khalil gave me his glasses. I put the glasses on. I mean, true. That was true. I couldn't go in my. I couldn't. I said, my goodness, what's wrong with these glasses? What's all this grease, chicken grease on these glasses? I said, what's all this chicken grease on the glasses? I had to get white water. Boy, that place, it was a whole lot of people there. That place went to the floor. But that was true. And we travel all over this state. And so I say, Imam Khalil, I say, and we were out in the middle like nowhere. But we were in the city, but we out, and I said, Imam Khalil, where can we get some chicken? He said, oh, that's right around the corner. There's one right around the corner. I said, what? He knew where every chicken place, KFC was. He had a GPS in his head. That man was bad. He was bad. But him and that chicken, I tell you, he got on. I enjoyed it as much as he enjoyed it. But anyway, I just love that. I miss that. I miss that, and many other things I miss, and I know you miss. But please remember him in your prayer, because he can't get any more blessings. He got a lot of blessings, but every prayer is a blessing for him and raises him higher in heaven. Thank you so much.
All right, alhamdulillah, we are going to break for prayer. We're going to say the adhan, and if you need to make wudu, there should be a few minutes for you to do that before we get to the prayer, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. What we're going to do, we're going to set up so we can eat and we can continue with the reflections while we setting up, and we're going to put some tables. Brothers, if y'all, after people finish making the sunnahs, we can set up the round tables and have room for people to eat, and we can still pass the mic so we can continue with the reflections. Is that okay? Alhamdulillah. Testing, testing. Excuse me. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. We're going to go ahead and start serving. We ask the family to go first and the sisters right behind the family. We got tables here, so we have room for you all to eat. So let's please go ahead and get started so we can continue on with our program.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to do the teacher thing. I'm going to try that one more time. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. All right. So, alhamdulillah, I hope all of you all have your plate. And if you would like, in honor of Imam Khalil, one thing he always used to tell me, we have a lot of chicken jokes this afternoon, but one of the things he used to tell me was because I was the resident vegan, he was going to eat one more piece of chicken for me. So if you would like to take that duty and take one more piece of chicken, we do have some more curry chicken that's up there. And inshallah, y'all are able to, around your tables, continue to share your memories of Imam Khalil. If you would like to share them publicly, I will leave the mic up here, and folks are welcome to share. But I know we probably have a mouthful of chicken and mac and cheese right now, so if you would just share amongst yourselves, and inshallah, we will close out in... I don't even know how much time I have anymore. Okay, well, we'll say that roughly, what is it, 3? All right, I'm not going to hold Sister Darlene all day, but we're going to say at around like 3:25-ish, Imam Ronald Shaheed did want to give some words, and then we'll close out. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I just wanted to thank you all for putting this together for my dad. He would be so proud, and we appreciate it. And I was telling my sisters about a year ago, maybe my grandma passed, and we were at her funeral. And I remember my dad pulling me to the side. And he said, "Look at here, girl." He said, "When I pass, I want y'all to celebrate me." And he said the best way you can celebrate me is by, continuing my legacy. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you. Thank you. It means so much to my family, to my mom, and we appreciate everything. Thank you. That's me. Assalamu alaikum. Again, thank you so much for your efforts to put this together. We are very thankful and grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to be here with you. I know for myself, I never left my father's side. I've been working with him in the masjid for years and years on committees, conferences, meetings after meetings, and that gives my heart the solace and the peace to move forward, fi sabilillah, with his legacy. I mean, literally, about 15, maybe almost 20 years now. And from the trustee board, I was 8 years on there almost. And then the Strong in School, the summer camp, etc. And so those memories for me are healing. And I hope, as Brother Halal was stating, those memories will be healing for you. Because at this point, again, we lift him up with prayer, sadaqah jariyah, right? Actions and good deeds. Everything we do in this masjid is sadaqah jariyah for him. And so, in us too. But of course, he set the foundation. Whenever you leave a charity behind, any good that comes out of that, you still get those blessings. And we wanted so much to have broken ground already, but Allah knows best that he's over there with believers, diverse believers, and in a place of peace. And so every time I ride by, I make dua for everybody there, and I'm looking forward to moving forward and breaking ground here and creating that legacy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would like us to leave, inshallah. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to say it is definitely a blessing to hear all of the great words and words of wisdom and how everyone loved our father like we do. So I just want to thank y'all for putting this together and just continue to hold our family close and near and dear to your heart the same way that you guys are doing with our father. We definitely appreciate it. He is truly missed, and I love him. And I'm gonna pass this before I get emotional. I'm the emotional one, but he is so dear and near to my heart, and I just miss him. So.
Assalamu alaikum. I love my grandfather as my grandfather, and I also love him as my imam. That's my leader. That's the only leader that I've known. And it's been amazing, the conversations that we've had, the projects that we've worked on, the trips that we've taken, the conversations that I was able to have in that back in his office. You know what I mean? So everything here is sentimental in a different way. And so it's so It is challenging being here today. This is my first time back since the janazah. And we appreciate all of you. You are our extended family, the way you've shown up, all of you, the way you've shown up. And the thoughts and prayers, we really appreciate them. And the other thing that I want to share is in terms of, the breaking ground, he wanted to break ground, but he broke ground in us as human beings. He cultivated us as human beings. So before the physical buildings, the future physical buildings are in place, he already put the plants, not the plants, but the seeds in us, so we can be the right in our disposition as we move into these new buildings and these new structures and these new projects, inshallah. And his one project in terms of working with him, it was like, we're ready. And then as soon as we said we were ready, we were on the same page, the same time frame, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started taking him through his transition. But just like the work here will continue, inshallah, that work will continue as well, inshallah. So thank you for being our extended family. Thank you for loving on us as well as giving us our space. We appreciate it. Thank you for this food, this meal, the way y'all been organizing. The book that's coming around, I know y'all want to sign it. And if I come off not as warm and fuzzy as usual, just know that that's just the style of how I'm grieving, but I still love y'all for the sake of Allah, and we thank y'all. Assalamu alaikum.
I just want to say thank you, like everyone here at our table has said, thank you so much for this. This is it's beautiful. It's encouraging. My dad would be so. My dad is so proud that the community, how the community has come together. How you have been there for us. And one of the things I know he really loved this community. He really loved being an imam. And I know that in the past several years, I have not been able to be out as much as I like because of my work schedule. And alhamdulillah, that has changed. And I want to continue to be here and to continue to work in the masjid because that's what my father would want. This was home for him, and he would want us to still be present because I know that sometimes when people lose people, they're present for a while and they just kind of fade away, and that's been my experience with a lot of people that are not here after losing loved ones, but we plan to, inshallah, still be around, still be working, because we know that's what my dad would want for us, and that's what we want in our spirits. And we just once again want to thank you. Thank you so much, Naila, for being in charge and putting this together. We appreciate it. We love you all, and thank you once again. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I also want to extend my gratitude to my extended family here at Masjid Ash-Shaheed for this wonderful program and your support and your prayers through this tough time. During my grandfather's last days, I was able to spend a lot of time with him, have some personal conversations. My memories with him will live forever. He's still with us, just not physically. And we appreciate you guys' respecting our privacy because this is tough. It's still it still doesn't seem real, And myself and the family will handle it the best way we can, the way my grandfather would want us to do so, by spending a lot of time with each other and being there for each other. And I'm blessed that my granddad brought me into this extended family at Masjid Ash-Shaheed. I'm forever grateful for you guys. Thank you. All right, so thank
you. You sure? No. My mom wants to say something.
Assalamu alaikum. I was hesitant to say anything because I didn't want to fall apart. But what I want to say sincerely, I thank Allah for all of you. And that whatever you do, do it for the pleasure of Allah, not for Imam Khalil or whoever. Do it for the pleasure of Allah and be sincere. And that's what He would want you to do. And we love you much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. My intention was not to say anything today because I'm not there, but my heart is I have to say something, and my husband wanted to say something. Are you going to say something first? Would you like to say it first? Okay. Without me going, inshallah, I'll make it through this. It's a lot of, I heard Imam, when we drove up, a lot of Imam clear stories, and trust me, I have a lot. We would be here all day and all night. We met Imam clear around 1988, 88, 87, somewhere in that time. And we go back a long ways. And extended family, again, my husband, this, as Carl said, it doesn't seem real to me, and I'm still trying to adjust. That's a lot of help me with this, because we all started together. And we say masjid are built on love, and it was a lot of love and a lot of sacrifice. It was 4 families, and we started. And I just will say this briefly. I know we were part of a few different efforts here in the city of Charlotte. To start community with Imam with Imam W.D. Muhammad community, and somehow or another something, for different various reasons, it was not successful. So I remember my husband, we were saying that, of course, it has a community of the States. We want to establish one here in Charlotte, in the city of Charlotte, because we were born and raised here too. Want to be a part of it. Not us start to be a part of it. But he said, Ma, you said one day, someone's going to come and where to feel the same that we feel and want what we want, and Allah's going to bless us. And sure enough, my neighbor, which is still my neighbor, Abdul Balam, Brenda Balam too, Balam's a neighbor directly across the street from us. And one day I remember looking out, it might be, I don't know if it was Sunday, I remember me cooking, and I looked out and Balam came across the street with her brother. And then my husband working in the yard, and I remember saying, I said, oh no, hope it's not another, I shouldn't say, but another effort, maybe, well, I just leave it like that. And then, but it was Imam Khalil, and he introduced Imam Khalil to Fatine, and from there, and then he said his family, we met him. We went to the park and met him. He said his family was in Harrisburg. I said, okay, and I'm questioning, I'm not questioning, but I'm hesitant. But when I say hesitant, because like some other people, things didn't materialize. And so he said, yes, and he had 7 girls, married 7. I said, okay, now that sounds good. And his family's coming down. But a long story short is that, and maybe, I know maybe plan the anniversary, the 35th anniversary, sometime next year. And I would go more into the beginning, but I just remember us. I worked very closely. I was an assistant secretary and Brenda was secretary. We said, Imam Khalil said, okay. We started meeting, and we would meet over his house, Sister Darlene, and blessed us, and the girls, the family welcomed us, and then we rotate to our house, and I think Belar's house, and Brother Mahdi and his family was up in Mooresville, too far. But I say too far, we didn't go there. They would come here. But it was a law, and it was meant because the Imam came in and the sacrifice, the information, the knowledge that he had, and the love and the dedication. Because he said, yes, we do need to establish, And then we went from Talim into Juma. He said, we're going to have to establish Juma. We got a place. And again, that's a long period. But what I wanted is on my heart is that Imam Khalil was a good man, a good person. He was. Now of course, if he was here now, he said, "What?" Sister Margie said, "We bump head," but he know the love, and we loved. My husband said this. Said he loved Imam Khalil, loved him now, heart, and he loved him, and he just unfortunate times he didn't show it as much. And same for me, he know the love. I felt he loved me too. And then we might, when you build a different personality, but he was a good person, and to listen, and he really was like a brother. And Sister Darlene, I loved him as a brother. And I really did, and I know he knew that, and even after time that I got on his last nerve, that he loved me too, and loved our family. And my granddaughter said a couple of days, she said, I've only known this two Imam Khalil. And when I come, it's difficult for me to come, but I love this community. And this community, I do want to say this community was built on love. When we start meeting, it was love and a lot of sacrifice. And Imam Khalil sacrificed. His job was he was a chaplain, in the prison system, and he would be on the roads. And we knew when he traveled, and the days he traveled, when he come in, he would leave off the road and go directly. He sacrificed his family. He sacrificed a lot of things, and we all building together because we love this community. And it does my heart, and I know it does his. I said, no. I know it did. That to see the community where we are now. And a few times he told me, my husband, he said, we still here. I said, well, yeah, Allah have us still here. And alhamdulillah, and I know, I feel in my heart, this community will be good. It's going to be okay. And then Imam Khalid did. He done what he was supposed to do. And he worked hard, but I want to say this to the family. Thank you all. Thank you, Sister Darlene. Thank you all, because I was there. And I know the sacrifice that he made, a lot of time and a lot of effort. And he's known around the city of Charlotte. The Mecklenburg ministry and the ministry, he opened a lot of doors for Al-Islam in this city. So I want to thank you all. And again, inshallah, I would want to, because he did say this to me a month or so ago, and he would come out, it's after Jummah, and I was sitting out in the foyer. He sit beside Sister Darlene and Sister Chris was talking, and he said, Sister Margie, we're gonna have to. He wanted to by anniversary. He said we're gonna have to do this. He said we're gonna have to tell the story. He said because I just don't know if they're gonna tell the story, so we have to do it. I said yes, sir, ma'am. I said we're gonna do it. I said inshallah, we will. But thank you all. And
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Praise be to Allah. Like you said, Marge, it's a blessing to have had. It's a blessing to have had Imam Khalil in our community. He was just what we needed when he came to Charlotte. I came in 1975 when Imam Muhammad became the leader of the community. That's when I came into the community. And after he and Imam Muhammad and seeing what we needed for Imam and the language of Imam Muhammad, being from Charlotte, I knew what Charlotte needed. And we didn't have it here. We didn't have it till Imam Khalil came. And I knew then we had the right leader. He had the language of Imam Muhammad. I knew then, I told my wife, I said, he's got the language that we need, and that would be successful in Charlotte. Because I knew Charlotte, I was born and raised in here, and I knew what kind of community it was. And he had the community, he had the language of Imam Muhammad. And he took it, and he was very successful with it, and he could communicate, and he could, make friends with anybody and he was able to do that, and he was to help the whole community. So that's why I'll stop there with that. But I said one thing with Imam Muhammad, that Imam Khalil, we the master's name, Master Ash-Shaheed. We had a brother, brother Mahdi Shaheed. He was the first treasurer for the community. And I would say he was similar, if y'all know Brother Clarence. He didn't talk a lot, he just did the work. And he was up in Mooresville, North Carolina. And he would come down here from Mooresville every Sunday. Every Sunday we just said, and he would come and do his work. But we were in Mooresville when he died, and Imam Khalil, he named a masjid after Imam, after Brother Mahdi, and Masjid Ash-Shaheed. I knew then that how he felt about the community. He loved the community, he loved the people. He could have tried to name it after anybody else, but the brother was very humble, thankful, dedicated, his wife, family. I knew then how he showed his love for the community and not trying to show his kindness to everybody. And I knew that we had the right leader, and he has exhibited that all the way through. So we think that I'm so thankful to had a leader like he had. So we thank Allah for him, and we want to continue his legacy. And brother Majid said the same thing. We want the love that he exhibited in our community. We had to keep it going and love each other. And don't worry about some of the small things. And let's concentrate on the things that's needed to establish a community that our children can benefit from. As far as I'll go. Thank you. Thank you.
You saw him as a brother. You didn't expect, okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Lawrence Muhammad, and I moved to Charlotte 2010. So I've been here 14 years. And Imam Khalil, like the rest of us, he had quite an influence on me. One of the things I could say about Imam was when I came here, I noticed that he liked to get to know everybody that comes to the door. He got to talk to you to find a little bit about you. And I came here not knowing about this community. I came here retired, like Halal was saying. I came here to relax. I'm retired, right? I'm coming to relax. So when I get here, Imam, he questioned me. I told him I used to do things in Boston. And so he said he used to go into the prison taking food. So he said, maybe you can be interested in taking the food to the prison during Ramadan. So myself and Fatim, we used to load our car up and bring food every year to the prison system. And then I don't know how it started, but we started working in doing khutbahs on Friday in the prison. I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing that, but Imam has a way of making you go to work. So we did that for a while, and then he knew I knew a little Arabic, so somehow I wound up teaching at the school. So I was saying, man, this brother, he know how to put you to work. But one day during Ramadan, I passed out in prayer. We was lined up for prayer, and I just passed out. And I went to the ambulance came, took me to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, they was treating me for whatever they said I was dehydrated or something. But the thing is, Imam talked to Fatim to find out where I lived, because the team knew where I lived. Him and the Imam and Maurice came to my house to pick my wife up to bring her to the hospital to see me. So, like you say, if someone's ill, Imam shows up, and his wife as well. So I have a lot of appreciation for the Imam, and without going into too much detail, because I'll be here for a while too, is I would say that Imam was a beautiful leader, and he left us a beautiful community. And I would say what Imam Muhammad said: let's give Imam a good future here. Our Imam, our leader. Alhamdulillah. That's what I would say. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
I'm going to say something real bold. And what I'm going to say is real quick. This masjid should be named Masjid Khalil Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naila Mulkey. I just wanted to share something really quick. Growing up, I spent a lot of time on I-20 and I-77 coming up to Charlotte back and forth from Augusta to Charlotte so that we could be a part of this community. I remember being a little girl and me and my mom trying to go to different masjids that were closest to us. And I remember tapping my mom like, Mommy, he's not like Imam Khalil. Like, that's not, it's not the same. Like, we got to go to Charlotte. And so, like, growing up, I always compared every imam to Imam Khalil. That was always the standard for me as a little girl. I didn't know any different. And so, when I was about 8 years old and my dad transitioned, Masjid Ash-Shaheed became even more of a safe space for me and my mom. So, coming back and forth up that highway, no matter how many times, I always knew I was home. Okay. And more recently, this year, this was the first time I had been to the masjid like in my adulthood in like a long time. And I was really trying to define what it meant for me to be Muslim as an adult. And it had been my first time being to the masjid at Eid. And I remember we were standing right over there by the brother's door. And Imam Khalil looked at me with the biggest smile on his face and was like, "Look at you with your sweet face self." And it just warmed my heart because I was so nervous about coming back, and all of that just like melted away as soon as he said that. So, and that's when I knew I was home again. So, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. My family, we moved here in 1995, and when we moved here, our masjid was over on Tuckasegee Road, and you all might have heard Imam Omar Shaheed in Columbia. He and Imam Khalil would kind of pretend to argue about the fact that we had moved here, and also Sister Lorraine had left Columbia and moved here too. And we cannot be in the same room with Imam Omar and Imam Khalil that they don't bring that, they don't still bring that up. But if we spent 18 years in Columbia in the community there before we moved here, and in my head, that, I'm still from Columbia. But if you do the math, next year it's going to be 30 years we've been here in Charlotte. So this is our home, and Imam Khalil is our imam. And my children were middle school, starting high school when we started here. But they look at this at Masjid Ash-Shaheed as a part of their
beginning their Islamic growth also. Even though they went to the Claire Muhammad School in Columbia, it continued here. And as you heard my son share, that Imam Khalil is like another father for him. Um, I've seen all of that. And I just want to say that when I first moved here and in interacting and in working with Imam Khalil, one thing I noticed right away is, and I don't even remember what the incident was, but he called me and apologized. And I remember telling my husband, Imam Khalil just apologized to me. I never heard of an imam that apologized. You know, I mean, it really struck me because Imam Khalil was a whole person. And he recognized all parts of himself. And don't forget, he had a wife and 7 daughters. And so, it was something to really see, that side of him. Imam Khalil would ask you to do things that you might not have thought you could do, but because he asked you to do it, you would do it anyway. And also, I never felt like he didn't have my back in whatever it was that we were trying to do. Maybe might not have been anything he said, but you just knew. I remember years ago when we hosted the Mali conference, and sometimes I would say things in the meeting or whatever in planning. No, we're not going to do it this way. We're going to do it this way. Or no, we're not going to spend all that money for that. We're going to do this. And they wouldn't challenge me. They would call Imam Khalil. And sometimes Imam Khalil wouldn't even tell me what he told them. But it would be settled because that was just how he was, and I think that was everybody's experience. It's interesting, like we said, we don't know how Brother Clarence could be at all the graduations and the games and this. How could he do all that? Well, the same goes for Imam Khalil. How did he have a wife and 7 daughters, and he could be? I've never been sick in the hospital or my husband in the hospital where Imam Khalil and Darlene did not come. And I can't say Imam Khalil. I have to say Imam Khalil and Sister Darlene because they were a pair. And no matter what I call Imam Khalil about, his answer was never no, or I can't do that, or I won't do that. He was always with a positive answer. And if we've experienced other deaths in our families, Imam Khalil was there when my brother died, when my father died, when my mother died. He was always there. And even for counseling for my family, all you had to do was call him. He was there. And I really am grateful and thankful that this year, when the Strongest School took their trip this year to Hilton Head, Imam Khalil and Sister Darlene were able to go with us, and we were able to share that experience going there. Didn't know that was going to be one of his last trips. Can't really think of Imam Khalil as not here. It's still Imam Khalil and Sister Darlene. So I think I'm going to stop there.
Assalamu alaikum. You all know I am not a speaker. But Sister Teresa reminded me of so many things that when I met Imam Khalil was at the national conventions. I'd always see him there. And I'd always come here whenever Sister Teresa had a baby, I would come here and spend a week or 2 weeks or whatever was necessary. And always visit the masjid at that time. So I would see him in Chicago or some city, and he would tell whoever's around, that's one of my members. She belongs to us. And I didn't want the imam there in Detroit to hear that because I was still in Detroit. But he let them know. He would even stop the people getting on the elevator. Wait, make room for her. That's one of my members. Oh, but I do remember being in the hospital here, and as you said, he came and visited. And it was really surprising to me because in Detroit, only sisters came to visit. And I thought that's the way it was. I'm from the Nation of Islam. And I didn't know a brother would come in the hospital to visit you, but there he was. I certainly appreciate it, and I will remember that, and I remember him in my prayers always. Assalamu alaikum.
So we've got Sister Aisha's going to speak, and then Imam Ronald.
Assalamu alaikum. I also didn't really want to say anything, but like others have said, when my mother-in-law spoke, it reminded me a lot about Imam Khalil that we all loved. And first and foremost was the fact that he was an excellent Imam. Not just like Sister Uhuru said, his cook bars were excellent, timeless. You can pull them back from years and years, and I still have CDs in my car, that you listen to during Ramadan because he was an excellent speaker because of the knowledge that he had. I grew up in this community also, and I didn't have any other Imam either. Imam Khalil was the only Imam, our Imam. Like my husband mentioned, he married us 21 years ago. And I remember us debating about which Imam was going to do the wedding, Imam Omar or Imam Khalil. And we were in Charlotte, so I think Imam Omar was like, he's the Imam here. There's no conversation about it. And they also were really good friends. And so were my father and Sister Darlene and my mother. They were also very good friends. So I remember growing up in his home. We would hang out with Raja and Anissa and Badia, and I would always want to eat Sister Darlene's baked spaghetti. But as I got older and came back to the community, Imam Khalil was also served as a mentor. When I was the principal of the school, again, like somebody mentioned, being called back in that office, you had to have several conversations. And Imam Khalil was always supportive, always. I don't think there was ever a function that we threw that he didn't attend. He was always, even if there was nobody else there, he showed his face to show support because that's how serious it was to him. And I'm thankful for that. Also, just again, his leadership. Like everybody said, we had the standard here, and we know, like when we travel around other places, we had an excellent Imam, and everybody can't say that. Everybody can't say that young people can get up and lead. We've talked to people around the country and where they say, these other imams won't even let somebody young get up and do anything. And so we weren't oppressed in that way. And I remember the same call that Sister Teresa mentioned. It just made me chuckle thinking about whether it was Imam Khalil had me doing, I don't know, the moral summit or whatever. And when, again, we'd be in meetings and the people wouldn't complain to me. But they would go to Imam Khalil. And so we'd have to call back in the office and he would say, well, they said this. And, this person did this, but we would settle it. But it was just funny that, again, everybody called Imam Khalil for every single thing, and he was available every single time. No matter what time you called, he would take your call. So it wasn't like he was very down to earth. And it wouldn't put himself in between. There wasn't a lot of screens like like Brother Maurice mentioned. You could call Imam Khalil, and if you had an issue, he would talk to you about it. He would address it. And I just appreciate that generosity, that excellent leadership that he always displayed. And like everybody knows here, we all love each other because we are extended family. And Imam Khalil was the leader, so he set that precedent. And I don't think it is going to ever leave. So I'm thankful to that. And then he also had a great sense of humor. I'm going to end with something funny. He was very humorous, and he always told me I had a terrible sense of humor because I don't have like the best. I'm serious. He would say, you always serious. He would always go tell my dad on me. When he couldn't get through to me, he would go and tell Jerry, go talk to her. Because I'm sure I got on his last nerves too. Like Sister Margie said, it's sometimes when you work together a lot. And the funniest thing he would always tell me when, I don't know if he heard somebody mentioning horoscopes, and he was like, do you know what my mentor told me? If you mention a horoscope, it means your mind is in a state of horror. And so that was just hilarious. Just one of the funny things he would always say, have you cracking up, because he had a great sense of humor, even though I didn't. Assalamu alaikum.
So I wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to thank all of you for being here today. and sharing your reflections. When we were talking about building this program, really what we wanted to do was, one, give the community an opportunity to share their reflections, but also sometimes there's a level of fear when a leader in a community passes away, and wanted an opportunity to bridge the gap between what was built by Imam Khalil and what we'll see in the future. And so what I wanted to do was give Imam Ash-Shaheed an opportunity to share just some brief words with the community, in reflection of Imam Khalil, and also what this community is going to continue to be going forward.
Assalamu alaikum. Praise be to Allah, the God and evolver, cherishes, sustainer of all systems of knowledge. We put our total and complete trust in Him alone, and we pray that God's choicest blessings is upon His Prophet Muhammad, the praise and peace be upon him, and what follows in our tradition of saluting him. It wasn't planned for me to make comments. It wasn't. I figured when we finished up there, that was it. But, no, I knew you could do it. Okay. Anyway, so you all don't know me very well, and I didn't come here, just like Khalil said. I came here to. I served in Milwaukee, number 3, for 18 years. And nobody wants to be imam after that. And it was rough. And so I came here for some R&R, as they call it in the service. And so, but that wasn't Imam Khalil. That's not what he thought. Because somebody said Lawrence just said he was always giving out work. Well, I tried my best. I did a couple of khutbahs. I told Imam Khalil I'll help wherever I can, but I didn't want to be in the rotation. So he didn't say anything, and so when Jabril would make up the rotation, I said, no, Imam Jabril, don't put me on. He said, all right. So this man right here got on my last nerve. brother, you know what's wrong with you, man? You gotta give it, man. So eventually, he must have convinced Imam Khalil, because Imam Khalil, maybe a year or so ago, came back to him and said, well, really, man, we really do want you to get in the schedule. I said, really, ma'am, you are my imam. I said, what can I say? Whatever you want. And anyway, for those of you who don't know, I was blessed to be in close proximity to Imam W. Muhammad for the last 3 years of his life, meeting in his home every Thursday that he was in town, and then having him encourage us to publish in writing, in books, what he had given us in intimate conversation. That's what I've been trying to do. And I'm working on this book now, and I've been working on this book for 16 years. And it's just a big burden, because I said I'd do it. And right now it's 600 pages. Pray for me that I can get it out. But it was his intimate thoughts. He would come, we would go to his house, he would come from the back of his house, he would sit down with us, we do business, and then he would just talk, and we recorded it. He told us to record it. After a year or so, he said, I want you to put it in publication. So I've been trying to do that. Anyway, so I saw myself coming here and working on that. Well, as I say, they plan a lot of plans, and law is the best of planners. Actually, and my wife can verify it, I was wanting to leave Charlotte. I was planning to, because I didn't want to. Imam Khalil had it all together. He didn't need me. That's how I saw it. He didn't need me. But like I said, a year ago, he laid it on me. And I couldn't just walk away, because I told him he was my imam. So if I go to Atlanta, Imam Khalil's still my imam. So I'm going to have to come to Atlanta to get a khutbah or something. Anyway, Two things Imam Muhammad told me that I always kept close to heart. He said, nothing happens by accident. He said, a long time ago I came to the conclusion, nothing in my life by accident. And the other thing he said one day when I told him that his youngest son and I had the same birthday, Imam said, now you know I believe in signs, don't you? I said, yes, sir. So I kept those two things in my mind. And I just want to speak a couple about the signs that I saw here recently. About maybe 3 weeks before our Imam passed, he gave me a briefcase. And I already have a briefcase. And I'm saying to myself, why did Imam Khalil give me this briefcase? I never asked him. But, you know, briefcase is for working. That's one sign. Another thing that happened was Imam Khalil's grandson, Corey. I saw Corey at the gravesite, great-grandson. And I didn't know who he was, but I could tell that he was close to Imam Khalil because he came up when they were putting covering the body up. And they tried to stop him, and I said, no. And I let him come through. I touched him on the shoulder. At the repast, we were outside about to get in the car, and Corey came over to me and hugged me tight. You were there. And he said, you look like my grandfather. Can I hug you? And he said, anytime I come, can I come hug? I said, yes, young man, you can come hug me. So we took a picture together. I want to show it to you. We took this picture together. Yeah. To me, that's a sign from God. And then the last sign I want to mention is Nasib came to me the Friday that a week after Imam Khalil was sick, and he said that we had a long conversation, and Imam Khalil wants you to fill in for him. I said, Nasib, nope. I said, you're more qualified to do that. You've been here all this time. He said, no. He said you. And so he must have talked to me 2 hours at Starbucks. At Starbucks. What'd you say about him at Starbucks? For 15. That bucks. So we're at Starbucks. And it took him 2 hours. And I said, Imam Khalil asked? He said, yeah. I said, well, okay. So the next day, I think we were able to see Imam Khalil in the hospital. And he didn't say much, but he looked at me and I looked at him and I said, Imam Khalil, I'm going to try to do what you want done. Because I felt then he knew and I knew that what he wanted, I want. I knew he wanted to develop this property. He said Imam told him that. He said when Imam came here, these 8 acres, that's a city. That's the beginning of a city. And that was on Imam Khalil's mind and heart. I know that for sure. And he told me that more than once. I accept that. And he wanted us to be closer and closer to our leader, Imam W. Muhammad. He wanted that. One thing I know is you don't have to be physically close to a person to be close to them. If you know their thinking, their heart, their spirit, and you accept that into your being, then you're the closest you could ever be to them. I know that. And so that's what I told Imam Khalil. And the last sign was we in the hospital. Me and this man went, and Sister Darlene was there. And Imam Khalil, he was alert. And Sister Darlene said to me, and I this really just put the nail it finished it. She said, my husband and I have talked about it, and we have accepted Allah's will. We're people of faith. And we're going to talk to the hospice people. We ain't staying up in here. We are people of faith. Allah's will is what we're all about. That's pretty much what you told me, right, sister? That did it for me. So I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know that what is happening here, and he can verify I said this a little while after I came here. I said, I never knew North Carolina, although my folks migrated from North Carolina to Florida. I said, but this North Carolina, this state is special. I said, and this city is special. I felt it. The things that I saw. He took me around, Imam Nassif, to all over the city, meeting city officials. And all those people seemed comfortable with people who practice Islam. I met the mayor. I met the city manager. I met the police chief. I met the sheriff. I met all these people. And all of them were excited about this man and Imam Khalil. I'm telling you. So to me, that's God's blessing. And I do believe this. There is no better place to establish a model for what Islam can do for African Americans, who many of them were Muslims when they were brought and made slaves. And God intervened in 1930 when Mr. Farad came and found the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And now we need a picture that the world can see and emulate. We should have been doing that around this country. For whatever reason, we didn't do it. To me, Charlotte has the best chance of really, I'm not talking about physical buildings per se. I'm talking about being sincerely in love with Allah, His Word, the Quran, His Prophet Muhammad, and the blessing that He gave us in Imam W.D. Muhammad. I don't feel any hesitance to tell anybody that Imam W.D. Muhammad is my leader. And Imam Rashad told me this, Sister Darlene. He said when he came to see Imam Khalil when he was in the hospital, he said that's all Imam Khalil talked about. Faith in God, faith in where this community go, and faith in our leader, Imam W. He said that's all he talked about. He didn't talk about he's so sad because he was dying or whatever. As Sister Darlene said, she said, my husband and I talked about it. And we have faith in God. And I think that's going to be what will sustain us here. One last thing. Imam Muhammad, in the last few years of his life, he always quoted this saying of Muhammad the Prophet before he finished. He said, you will not have paradise until you have faith. He said, but you won't have faith until you practice loving each other. So as all it says, Sister Darlene, you're an inspiration because of your faith and your commitment. I didn't have the opportunity to see all these years you worked with your husband to sustain this community. But I just heard the story of it. And Imam Khalil is physically not with us, but he's still with us. You're still with us, and his spirit that entered all of us is with us. And I pray to God that this will sustain us as we do what we need to do and can do in this community together. Assalamu alaikum.
Now you put me up here. What am I supposed to say? Assalamu alaikum. I don't know. So again, alhamdulillah, thank you all so much for being here. We really, really, really appreciate it. And to the family, thank you so much for coming out. We know that you all are carrying your own grief. And so being here with us is truly appreciated. So we really thank you. And I think I need to get with Sister Khalida and Badia afterwards just to check on something. But everybody else, please take another piece of chicken in honor of Imam Khalil. And if anyone can stay to help clean up, we really appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum.